I'm a strong believer of everything happens for a reason. Whatever it is, we're on a path, and sometimes you go off that path, but sometimes you're gonna go back onto this path, and it's being in a different mindset. Taking this January period that we're in, 2 week time, to really strategize and execute on the plans going for this year forward. Me, 10 years ago, if I lost my job, I would probably be crying. And my mentor at the time said to me, "Congratulations." Just say I'm successful. Have had successful outcomes, but I'm not there yet. You have to fall in love with this journey because it's a process. They want to be, okay, I want to go into property, I want to be a millionaire. It's not going to happen overnight. Why is it you want to do this? It got to a point where literally it was overwhelming. I had to sit back, look, I can't handle this anymore. It's a point that I don't want to kind of go back to again because it's not going to be easy. I say I'm done.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Diaries of Success. Well, before I start, today I want to ask a huge favor because I've noticed on our channel that most of you who are subscribed, or actually who are watching our episodes, are not subscribed. So it would be really helping us massively if you could click on that subscribe button. And without now any further ado, I want to tap into an industry that I am most in love with. Our guest for today is one of the leading property consultants in the UK. He's also a luxury realtor. So I'm honoured and pleased to be having Mr. Nick Ifill with me.
Thank you very much, Hadja, for inviting me down to this podcast.
How are you doing, Nick?
I'm amazing. It's been a busy morning so far, but we made it. So I really appreciate you having me on this amazing podcast. And I'm really looking forward to having a great discussion today.
Great. Well, let us know, who is Nick Ifill? Look, I wanted just to give a big title, but I know you're more than just that.
Yeah.
So who is Nick Ifill?
So Nicholas Ifill, so as you mentioned, I am a property consultant. So what I mainly do is I help consult with my clients, whether they're looking to sell their house, and I also help my clients if they're looking to buy properties here in the UK. And then also a lot of my clients come to me that want to kind of invest in property sector, and I go with them, we sit down, we kind of go through a consultation plan to help build their property portfolios. And the main thing that I do with that is obviously what I specialize in, which is HMOs, so
right.
houses with multiple occupation, and the service accommodation sector. These are my kind of specialist niches that I kind of focus on. But overall, originally I'm a project manager by trade. So I've adapted what I do from the corporate world now into property, kind of having all those transferable skills, which kind of helped me to kind of really establish myself and get a foothold in its property industry so far.
So it feels like you have a lot on your plate. Yes,
I mean, a lot of people when you think about starting a business and then having multiple streams of property of income. So for me, I thought, okay, having multiple streams of income is very, very good. But for me, I wanted it all under one umbrella, rather than trying to do property. You're trying to sell a business online. You're trying to work in a nightclub, whatever. I wanted everything to be all under one umbrella. So it's almost like a one-stop shop. So if I'm speaking to you, you're my client. You say, look, I can look after you. I can serve you in many aspects. Are you looking to sell? Are you looking to buy? Are you looking to invest? Are you looking to rent? I can serve you. If you want to find something in property, I'm the person that you can kind of go to. So for me, that makes me the go-to person. That's what I want to kind of be. That's my aim.
Beautiful. That's really inspiring. And I'm sure so many of us who are watching us today also want to tap into property. Why property? So
for me, I've always had a passion for property. I think it started from a very young age. So my granddad came over to the UK during the Windrush era. And he was into property. He actually was a HMO landlord, but probably wasn't called HMOs back then, where he had a house, him and my grandma lived in a house and they rented out the other rooms. One of the two things that he always said to me was, get into property, learn a trade. And that's always kind of stuck with me. I went to university, I studied business and marketing, but always in the background I always had a passion for property.
Wow.
And I think one of the things I really highlighted was a show, it's still on now, which is called Homes Under the Hammer.
Right, yes.
So during my uni days, I was watching it every single morning at 10 a.m, Homes Under the Hammer. These people are going on there, they're buying houses, they're flipping it, and they're making ridiculous amount of money. So great, that's what I want to do. So I left university, had a good small job at the time. Great, I'm going to save all my money, going to invest in property, and I had a good pot of cash ready to kind of go. But then in 2005, 2007, we had the financial crisis. And I thought, oh, damn, now's not a good time to invest in property. So what can I do? So I just going to put it aside and kind of go about my business and kind of work in the corporate world because I was uneducated at the time. And that's why, if, for example, if I know now what I know then, I would have definitely invested into property back when there was a recession, 2007.
You're saying 2007?
Yeah, 2007. So when we had the financial
you're looking
crisis.
21. So how is that?
Well, I'm actually 40 this year.
My God!
I'm 40 this year. Yeah, so that's another kind of thing for where I'm at right now in my life because you know what? I don't want to keep hustling until I'm 60, 70.
Yeah.
Kind of going on to this kind of scam that they kind of put us in, the rat race. Kind of, you got to go to school, you got to get a good job, you got to work for 40 years and then retire when you're earning a third of what you earn and your health is probably not the best. I want to retire in the next 10 years, next 5 to 10 years. So for me, that's what I want to do. So back to my point, what I was saying is I was uneducated at the time. I didn't know back then when there's a scarcity in the market, that's the best time you want to take advantage. And then I just kind of got stuck in the rut of kind of working in the corporate world, which was great. I was doing what I was doing, kind of going up the corporate ladder. But as you go up the corporate ladder, you realize you're giving more time away to someone else's business. And it wasn't until 2019 that I kind of reignited my passion for property. And that's when rent to rent, which is what I kind of initially kind of got started in, came about. And when I kind of, okay, you can control other people's property assets. You can leverage off of that and you can kind of build a business. And then just as I was getting started in 2020, we had the pandemic.
So looks like it's the same scenario.
It's the same scenario again.
Being
It's something
repeated.
you're ready to get going and then something happens and puts a roadblock in your way. But the difference this time is I was more prepared. I was prepared in my mind, I was prepared in myself because I had the education and I had the belief that I still want to kind of go forward with this. Yeah. So I didn't let that stop in my way. So that's where my journey kind of started, 2.0, 2019 kind of get started in the rent-to-rent sector. And when I've built that business up, I left my job, but then that's what, let me go 2 feet into property where I added in selling real estate as another service that I can provide to my clients.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful journey.
Long-winded story.
No, I'm just thinking about, especially the hit. Like now you're more prepared.
Yeah.
Probably back in the days when you were watching, House Under the Hammer, you were just thinking, oh, you know what? I want to be just like these people. Yeah. But now, by choice, because you know exactly what to do, the system works regardless. We've had this history is just probably just repeating itself. I'm just going to do what I haven't been able to do back in the days and just take the bull by the horn and just go for it. So did you have any doubt at that time that, oh, maybe it's not going to work?
Absolutely. I mean, you always have doubt. You always have that kind of monkey on your shoulder, so to speak. It's, you can't do this. Just stay in your lane, kind of just live a normal life, go get a job and stuff like that. But you'll never be able to fulfill your full potential if you don't give it a try. Yeah. I'd rather live with regret, rather live with a chance that I've tried something, rather than live with the fact that I regretted not doing something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So having the opportunity, I've given it my all. If you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I've tried my hardest for my beliefs that I want to kind of get to, then you could be happy with that.
And now, have you ever regretted anything?
I mean, there's some decisions in life outside of property that you do have regrets, but
like what, for example?
I don't look at it as regret. I look at it as lessons. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you've made a particular choice and it's taking you down a particular path, it's okay. Let's learn from that.
You're more specific.
So, I mean, the
situation that happened, for example. So,
decision you might have regretted, let's say a business decision. You know what, I'm going to make this investment, and you lost money. I've lost money, and you say, I'm going to go into this deal, and it's going to be great, but it didn't work out. Mm-hmm. But as I said, you got to look at it as a lesson to kind of go forward and take from that and build from that and go on to your next experience. You might have relationships, for example, people that you have around you, people in your inner circle that you might want to kind of, you know what, I should have made wrong decisions in that situation. I should have said this or I should have said that. But the key thing is I don't see them as mistakes. I always see them as lessons.
Right. So what's the best lesson you've learned so far?
The best lesson that I've learned so far in life is you have to back yourself. You have to believe in the realm of the possible rather than impossible. Because someone will always tell you that it's impossible until someone actually kind of goes and does it. Because it's, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. But once someone does it, you can do that. And then you get a bunch of other people coming along that are doing the same thing. So go with always believing in the possible rather than the impossible. But
doesn't that kind of create a bit of competition?
The competition is healthy. Competition is healthy. I think we're in this kind of weird era at the moment where people don't want to kind of compete. Mm-hmm. You look at the school system; everyone gets a trophy for compete for.
Yeah, why is that?
For taking place. For me, I've got a son recently, and I'll say, look, if I'm teaching my son to kind of go into competition, be number one. Don't accept 4th, 5th place. Be number one. Strive to be the best of the best.
Do your best.
Do your best.
Yeah.
And if you don't do your best, and let's say you get runners up, learn from that to go next time that you're going to do your best. Don't be happy with just attending or just taking part.
Yeah.
For me, it's a mindset. I think it's softening the generation that we're in at the moment.
I've noticed recently, like there is this kind of myth, or this kind of new thing where even the person who arrived 25th or 26th get a medal for participation. Yeah. What is that? Like, no, you haven't tried harder. It's just because you've participated. To be honest with you, if that was me, I would be ashamed. Yeah. Now, as a kid, I mean, we shouldn't be putting that type of thoughts and that type of, or giving them that kind of mindset. It's okay if you arrive 26th. No, it's not okay.
It's sugarcoating. It's like mollycoddling and these little infants. It's like it's pleasing mediocrity.
Absolutely.
Which for me, it doesn't sit well with me in my mindset.
And that's kind of goes to affect the person who has arrived late. Who has arrived first. Mm-hmm. That person would be like, I have arrived. I've won. I've got first position now. Even if I was last, I would still get a medal or a trophy, or I'd still be appreciated. And, it does fades the feeling of winning from that
diminishes
person.
all the hard work that person has put in and to specialize their craft to get to where they kind of need to kind of get to. So try to be first, and that's the aim.
Is that what you're trying to aim for?
100%. I mean, I want to always be the best. I'll go into it, and I will always take what I've gone from in the past to kind of always be the best. And I think the key thing is as a saying is practice makes perfect. I believe that's kind of BS a little bit, because you can always better your best.
Absolutely.
You can always do one step better. You can always be 1% better. And the aim of the game is to be 1% better than you was previously.
Absolutely agree with you. And I totally think that's exactly what I always say to whether they're my mentees or my friends, are like, oh, practice makes perfect. No. If that's perfect, that means that's the end of it.
Exactly.
But it's never, there's no end to it. So practice makes better.
Correct.
Practice makes improvement. And so now that you are the successful person who you are today, or I that's how I see you, honestly. Yeah. Of course, you go in places and you still have different goals and aims, but so many people look up to you. So in your opinion, what's the definition of success?
For me, I think your success has to start with the start point. And I think where a lot of people sometimes fail or fall off their kind of journey is because there's a disconnect between where they started and when they want to kind of get to. And you have to kind of define what that success looks like. And then you're almost like working backwards from it. And for me, what does success look like? I went on to this journey because success for me was to step away from being in a situation where I have to kind of go to a job. I have to kind of be on someone else's time.
Yeah.
Money is not the goal for me. Financial freedom is the goal for me, to be able to do the things that I want to do on my own terms.
Yeah.
To be able to provide for my family, to be able to kind of always give back to the community as well. especially being a person of color, an ethnic minority as well. And I think we as people don't really kind of strive well to kind of want to be that financial success. And I think we're very, very bad at containing wealth and building wealth for people. And that's one of the things that I want to kind of eventually kind of do, is give back to my community. So for me, those are the key points. You have to look at what does success look like and always kind of work towards that. And so it's basically having a strong why. That's
Why?
Why do you need a strong why? Because life is going to knock you down. Life is going to knock you down from left, right, up, down, left and right. And it's that strong why that's going to give you the discipline. Because motivation is great, but you got to have discipline to make sure that you turn up every single day. Because consistency is the key. In anything you do, when you're looking to lose weight, you're looking to kind of get a new job, you're looking to kind of build success, you have to turn up each and every day.
Right. Well, I always say this and I repeat it. I'm probably not the most disciplined person out there. I'm a very spontaneous person. I'm sure you are a very disciplined person. And so what do you think discipline has offered to your career, and how has it impacted your current lifestyle?
Well, for me, when I first got started in property, as I mentioned, I had a full-time job. So I had to be disciplined in terms of my structure and approach. I can be like you. I can be very, very spontaneous. 1 minute I'm doing this, 1 minute I'm doing that. And I found having more discipline helped me really kind of focus on my time, because there's only 24 hours in a day. About 8 hours of that you have to kind of sleep. So if you've got 16 hours that you need left to do everything else, you have to give time to your family, you have to give time to your business. And for me, I got to the point where I just running left, right, all over the place. And I think for me, especially this year, I looked at myself, I really need to kind of get down to the focus. And one of the things that really has helped me is time blocking. So instead of just doing a to-do list, rather than looking at, okay, these are the things I need to get done. These are the priorities that I need to kind of do, and allocate this amount of time to do that. So time blocking has kind of really kind of been my little bit of shift. And one of the things I also recently got as well, which was a productivity to kind of time, because I'm very bad at kind of always working on something and then attention, let me look at my phone. Look at my phone. It distracts me, and I'm guilty of that. I'll be first to admit. So really kind of almost kind of going into monk mode, like literally shutting off the world, tackle the things that I need to tackle.
I think this is something that a lot of people do struggle with. It's just getting your minds focused on one thing for a certain period of time. And I've noticed recently, I've been reading an article, apparently the brain can only concentrate for 20 to 25 minutes. So I've had this kind of now, I would say probably I'm disciplined in doing that, time schedule where I'm only focused on one task for 20 to 25 minutes, and then I will do whatever I want after that. And then I get back to doing another task for the same period of time, and I'll just stick to it. And I realized my brain is now more effective and my habits are getting a lot better.
Absolutely.
And my time schedule, I'm ticking a lot of things to do off my list. So thank you for that. Thanks for sharing that.
And I think obviously especially with social media, Instagram and all these platforms, is that they're making our brain to kind of work less. It's like you got these 30-second clips, you're just going from it's like you're making your attention span a lot shorter. So that's where we're at. We have to kind of get back to kind of just really get us focusing. You
know, this social media is either makes you a producer or makes you a consumer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you can be a little bit of both, but one of them has to actually supersede the other.
Yeah.
How are you keeping your time off social media? You know, especially in our industry, right? And let's say you're a luxury realtor. Yeah. Now, I'm sure all your feed is with luxury houses, and you're scrolling up and down and looking at it's beautiful to watch. Yeah. I understand it. How are you keeping yourself out of it?
That's what I was saying to you in terms of kind of having this new kind of mode was kind of, look, whilst I'm working and then shutting off to the world. And for me, I kind of separated out my business kind of social media profile persona into my personal, and it's having that dedicated time, and also kind of building up to the point where I now have a virtual assistant who handles a lot of my kind of social media side of things. So one of the things is that you find yourself always being on there. So instead of doing that, let's kind of again, time block, manage what your time, and batch content posts for the months. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Therefore, it takes me away from being on there constantly and only having, okay, cool. Maybe you obviously do need to be on social media. You've got to be aware of what's kind of going on. You've got to engage with the people that follow you. So look, I'm going to spend 30 minutes a day at this time on social media, engaging, responding to posts and do what I need to do. And that's it. And then do what else. So it's just about managing your time.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So just getting back to what we said earlier about success. So our show is all about, it's called the Diaries of Success. Basically, it's all about the success journey of an individual that is different to someone else's. So we want to change the cliche of saying the success formula, the formula of success. To me, that's a BS.
Yeah.
So you're a successful man. How was your journey throughout success? I'm sure it was a roller coaster. Was not always.
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm successful. Have had successful outcomes, but I'm not there yet. And I think you have to fall in love with the journey. A lot of people now are very kind of want that instant gratification. They want to be, okay, I want to go into property. I want to be a millionaire. It's not going to happen overnight.
Straight away.
I'm 2 years into my journey. You have multiple people that are probably going to speak after me on your stage that have been 5 years, 6 years, 10 years down the line. It's a journey, and you have to fall in love with that journey. So there's going to be small successes along the way, and you have to obviously reward yourself from that. Whether you're selling a house, you're getting keys to a property, and you're posting on Instagram, you got these keys. These are all small successes, but you have to fall in love with this journey because it's a process, and that's what's going to help you kind of get along the way and to be successful. Is understand it's not going to be like an overnight success.
Absolutely, yeah.
And again, it always kind of goes back to why. Why is it you want to do this? Because it's not going to be easy. It's not any. I'm sure you can contest to this. It's not going to be. It's not an easy process. There's hurdles that you've probably gone through to where you're at. The struggles that I've gone through. It's not an easy journey. You have to kind of keep building and building and building. To eventually, you look back and then you can sit back and say, "I'm done."
Right. Do you think you're ever going to sit back and say, "I'm done"?
Well, that's the goal.
It's the goal, isn't it?
That's the goal. As I can sit back on an island somewhere with a cocktail and say, you know what, I'm done.
Now, we've been talking about the struggle. What's the one thing you feel have made a huge impact as a struggle?
A struggle, I think, is getting to like a low point. And I think when I'm speaking to people that I'm talking about it, so you got to find out what's been your wall, what's been the hardest point that you get to, and to a point we felt so low. For me personally, it was in a situation where I left my job and I was starting a new job, and I was in some financial situation. I took out a payday loan, and then I took out another payday loan, and I got to a point where I had this enormous amount of debt on my shoulders. And obviously, sometimes being a man, we don't kind of share and communicate this. I didn't tell my friends, didn't tell my families. It got to a point where literally it was overwhelming. I had to sit back, look, I can't handle this anymore. Bailiffs kind of calling on the door in the situation. So for me, that was my lowest point. And for me, it's a point that I don't want to kind of go back to again. And for me, I use all that kind of motivation to say, well, no, look, this is where you was. You'll never kind of be in that position again. Is you're going to do what you need to kind of do to make sure that we're not here. You're going to provide for your family, make proper decisions, and learn from all the mistakes you did to kind of get into that situation.
Thank you very much for sharing that. You know, it's hit really, really hard. And so many people might find themselves in the same situation. Unfortunately, we get ourselves into unhealthy debts that are not just serving us. Well, we understand there are different type of debts. Like there is a debt where if you invest it into property or if you invest it into an education that's going to give you in return and provide you and give you a sort of an income, absolutely, that's completely fine. But getting yourself into a debt that you know is just going to exhaust you
Yeah.
is really, really hard. And thanks for sharing that.
Obviously, right now we've got the financial crisis at the moment, and obviously there's people that are going to struggle out there. But it kind of goes back to the point of what you're saying, and what's kind of, there is good debt and there is bad debt, and it all kind of stems back to kind of education. And the problem that we have in society, because it's the way that they want it, is we are not taught financial education in schools. We're taught to be consumers, as you were saying. Our society is taught us to be buyers. And you got to understand is that you're constantly buying. You have to kind of go out there and generate income.
Right. Now, how is your lifestyle looking like right now?
So right now, we just turned into 2023. So last year was a good year. So also lots of positives that have gone on through the last years. We're growing our property portfolio that we have. So we have HMOs, housing multiple occupation. We have service accommodations. So for me, this year is really kind of, I want to kind of get back to the 2019 period. Is when I kind of got started and have that rocket growth. So for me, it's about setting the foundations for that. So I've just recently started my estate agency business, which is Nick Ifill Real Estate. So helping kind of my clients to sell their houses. So planning the kind of the growth of that, planning to kind of build the portfolio side of the business. So it's really kind of taking this January period that we're in, 2 weeks time, to really strategize and execute on the plans going for this year forward.
And how is it impacting your personal life?
It's challenging. Obviously, having a partner, having a young family, so having four children. So it's
we just forgot about the fourth one for a second. Well, you just recently had the fourth one, so congratulations.
Yeah, so three older teenagers, and then one son who is 15 months this month.
Aww.
So it's challenging about finding that time, and obviously you've got a relationship as well to kind of manage.
Absolutely,
which is almost like a task that you have to kind of do, schedule that task in and manage it. So it's a balance, and that's what you kind of, that's the game really.
Is your partner, very supportive?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't be here without support of my partner, and that's what you need, is to have someone that's going to back you.
Yeah, it can be challenging sometimes.
So again, especially when literally I lost the job, and I was like, hey, I've lost the job, but I'm not going to apply for another one. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And we've got bills to pay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Just, taking yourself away from that security of a job and just being able to have something that supports you. But I think sometimes that's the best thing that can happen into someone's world. Yeah. I mean, if you are at a point where you can do better, life is telling you, just go and start your own thing.
Absolutely.
If you don't want to, I'll give you that chance. I'll slap you hard, I think sometimes it wouldn't have been maybe where you are right now. Because I think about it from my point of view, because I've also been in a job. And I used to work for Selfridges. I was the perfume girl. My manager was just horrible. I mean, the first manager was amazing, and then he left, and there's another manager but he was just horrible. And I just couldn't stand working for him. Yeah. And if he was not who he was, if he has not been horrible to me, or if his attitude and character was just not, if he was a good person, I would probably still be working in Selfridges. But just because of that, I said, you know what, Hajra, you deserve way better than this. You deserve a lot more than just being into retail, working to please your manager and trying to please someone else. So I think, when you lost your job is the best thing that ever happened to you.
I'm a strong believer of everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, divine intervention, the man upstairs, whatever it is we're on a path, and sometimes we go off that path, but sometimes you're always going to go back onto this path. And for me, again, it was being in a different mindset. So me 10 years ago, if I lost my job, I would probably be crying and probably take out more debt to try and cover myself. But my mentor at the time said to me, "Congratulations." I said to him, "I've lost my job." So he said, "Congratulations, you're now free." Yeah. You're now free to do what it is that you want to do.
Well, I totally agree with him. Totally agree with him, because I saw it to myself. Now I'm happy I've left my job. So now what's the next steps?
So the next steps is about taking action, and I think that's part of the problem where some people kind of fail is they have all these big dreams, they maybe learn a new skill, go into a course, but they don't take action. Nothing's going to change unless something changes. So you have to kind of go out and take the information, because knowledge, they say knowledge is power. It's not power, it's potential power. So for me, the next steps are, as I said, is putting this action plan that we're putting together at this moment, and now kind of going out and executing on that, because that's the only thing that's going to happen. That's what I want to do. So it's building this estate agency business, building our property portfolio. So as I was mentioning off air, is I want to kind of build it to a situation where it's almost like a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
If someone wants to kind of go to property, Nicholas Ifill is going to be the person they want to go and see, whether they're looking to buy, sell, rent, invest, you name it, you can come and see me.
Well, I also heard that you're also going to start writing a book.
Yes, so that is on the plans as well. I've been saying it for a long time that I want to kind of write a book. I think it's a good way to almost get your skills up to a better standard as well, to kind of, you know what, I can have all this information, but if I can formulate it into a process, into a structure, because once you've done that, it then becomes teachable. And then you can then deliver that to someone else. You can pass it down to your children. You can pass it on to your community as well. And again, it's about sharing the knowledge and serving other people. So yeah, so writing a book, writing not just one book, many books.
Yeah,
is a plan. And so obviously the first book that I'm going to write is going to be on what my journey started off with, which was rent to rent.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to kind of learn about rent to rent, what it is, and it's not rocket science, but everyone has a different spin on it. So for me, I want to kind of put that into a book and kind of deliver that out. And
you're a mentor now as well, and you're sharing your knowledge with a lot of people. And you're doing that.
Again, at the start of the year, I wasn't even going to do it. And I actually saw someone else that I know very well, and he said, you know, that's what I'm starting to do. I'm starting to kind of give my knowledge back. You know what? I have a lot of knowledge. What's stopping me from doing it?
Doing it,
Sometimes you feel like I can't do it. I'm not where I want to be, because there's many people that are a lot higher in this rent to rent game or in this property game than I am. And I'm not pretending to be some property big expert like the Samuel Leeds of the world, for example. I'm not there, but I still have knowledge, and if I can help 2, 3, 5 people, then great.
Well, speaking of Samuel Leeds, we've seen you recently in an episode of The Eviction.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think that show is great.
Yeah.
And I believe that it's actually not getting enough light on it.
Needs to be on national TV.
I believe it should be on TV. Honestly, with the level of production there is, with the level of experience, the level and what the people are going in, it's just a show that shouldn't be just on YouTube.
Yeah, so it's like the Apprentice, but the property version.
Yeah.
Times 10.
Yeah. So Samuel Leeds, if you're watching, you have to get it on TV, right? Well, so how was the experience for you?
Yes, I mean, for great. I mean, there was over 100 people that applied to be on the eviction, so it was great to kind of go through that process and kind of get to be on there. So we was among a contestant of 10 contestants to kind of to go through there. So it was really great. I met a great bunch of people, so 9 other great individuals who I know are all going to smash it in the property journey, who are going to be friends, are going to work together. One of the things that it taught me from kind of being on the eviction is you don't need all this time to kind of do what you need to do.
Yeah.
If you give yourself 3 hours to tidy your room, for example, it's going to take you 3 hours. But if you give yourself 30 minutes, it'll take you 30 minutes. So one of the things that every single task, because it's such a film in such a short period, is you're only given a set amount of time. So the first task was we got to kit out this whole entire house in 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, I've done service accommodation units. It's taken me like a month almost.
A month,
because I've taken my time. It's like literally you got 40 hours. Guests are coming. You got to do it.
Yeah, 40 hours. You went, got the furniture, tried to negotiate, got it delivered. I think one of you guys had like a tire that was that person, and it was just. All happened in 48 hours, and then you finally got a house that is ready to accommodate guests.
Absolutely.
Why don't we do that?
Because we tell us, we give ourselves. It goes back to the point that we were saying is like everyone's competing. Oh, you take your time to do it, but you have to kind of always move with the urgency. And if you do that, then it's great. And that's one of the key things that's taken me away from that. And the second task was the same as well, kind of going out into doing the deal selling. Is you got to find the deals, there's challenges you're going to do, and find the deals, find the investors. So for me, it was a fantastic experience. I went into it believing that I could win. Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get through to win. But for me, it was a great experience. I've learned a lot. Made some good connections. And it's about taking that, and as I said, it's not about any mistakes that you've made. It's about experiences and lessons that you can kind of take on,
and the relationship you've built,
and the relationships that you've built.
And probably there is a lot of business that you've built, just from that one experience. So so you build great relationship. You meet like-minded people who are at the same level as you're thinking, positive energy, amazing. You have a great mentor that is teaching you everything how it actually should be done, and you're building business at the back of this. So what else would you want?
That's what exactly.
Well, I'm really, really loving this experience, this interview and this discussion. Unfortunately, we do have to wrap. And before I leave, or before we wrap this, what's the one thing you would share with our audience and tell them?
I mean, the one thing that I would say to anyone is, obviously you're watching this on YouTube or Instagram or whatever the platform that you happen to be watching on, and maybe you think about, how can I be successful? You maybe have a passion for property, you may have a passion for anything else that you want to kind of do.
Yeah.
The one thing that I would say to anyone is again, going back to the point where I was saying to Bloor, is you have to have that strong belief in yourself, and you can do it. Don't let anyone else tell you that you can't do it. Stay motivated, stay consistent, but most importantly, whatever you're doing, you have to take the action, and have to understand that sometimes the change that you want to happen, it has to be bigger than the change that you think. You have to kind of go like 10x. One of the great books I read, it was Grant Cardone's book, was 10x. People fall off the change because the change is not big enough to change their lifestyle. Yeah. You want to lose some weight. Oh, well, it's new year, new me. I want to lose some weight, but it has to adopt into your lifestyle. The change has to be big. So whatever it is that you're doing, make sure you take action and go 10x, go all in.
Well, thank you very much. If we want to get in touch with you, how would we, if we have anything we want to learn from you, if we have a property we want to sell, how do we get in touch? Yeah,
so the main thing you kind of get into contact with myself is Instagram is my biggest platform that I'm on. It's nicholas.ifill, which is IFILL. Or you can drop me an email, which is nick@win, which is wynnproperty.co.uk.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, anything you want to add?
No, I would say thank you very much, Hadja, for having me on today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm actually in awe of what it is that you're doing as well in the property game, and really excited to kind of see the growth of this podcast kind of going forward. So I wish you all the best, and a massive thank you for having me on today.
Really appreciate it, Nick. Thank you very much. I'm sure, I very much enjoyed this episode, and I'm sure our audience did as well. If you would like to get in touch with Nick, I will also leave his contact in the description box down below. And if you're listening to us through the listening platforms, you just heard it from him. So I will see you guys in the next episode. And if there is anyone you want to see on this show, let us know in the comment section down below. We will try to contact them for you. And the bigger the show, the bigger the guest. So make sure you subscribe, give us a like. If you have any questions, hit us on Instagram. See you in the next episode.